Hi kids, I'm Lieutenant Ron Patterson and I'm a firefighter paramedic here at the Lynn Fire Department, and I'm going to read you a book today. The name of the book is Miss Nelson is Missing, and I really hope you enjoy it. I've been a firefighter about 24 years here on the Lynn Fire Department, and I love my job, and I'm really excited to be able to read a book for you today. So here's Miss Nelson is Missing. Miss Nelson is Missing. The kids in room 207 were misbehaving again. Spitballs stuck to the ceiling. Paper planes whizzed through the air. They were the worst behaved class in the whole school. "Now settle down," said Mrs. Nelson in a sweet voice, but the class would not settle down. They whispered and giggled. They squirmed and made faces. That's a funny face. The next morning, Miss Nelson did not come to school. "Wow," yelled the kids. "Now we can really act up." They began to make more spitballs and paper planes. "Today's going to be just terrible," they said. "Not so fast," hissed an unpleasant voice. A woman in a ugly black dress stood before them. "I am your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp." And she rapped the desk with her ruler. "Where is Miss Nelson?" asked the kids. "Never mind that," snapped Miss Swamp. "Open those arithmetic books." Miss Nelson's kids did as they were told. Ooh, she looks scary. They could see that Miss Swamp was a real witch. She meant business. Right away, she put them to work, and she loaded them down with homework. Oh my goodness. "We'll have no story hour today," said Mrs. Swamp. "Keep your mouth shut," said Mrs. Swamp. "Sit perfectly still," said Mrs. Swamp. "And if you misbehave, you'll be sorry," said Mrs. Swamp. The kids in room 207 had never worked so hard. Days went by, and there was no sign of Miss Nelson. The kids missed Miss Nelson. I miss her too. Did I miss a page? I did. Sorry, kids. "Maybe we should try to find her," they said. Some of them went to the police. Detective McSmogg was assigned to the case. He listened to their story. He scratched his chin. "I think Miss Nelson is missing," Detective McSmogg would... I think Miss Nelson is missing. Detective McSmogg would not be much help. Other kids went to Miss Nelson's house. The shades were tightly drawn, and no one answered the door. In fact, the only person they did see was the wicked Miss Viola Swamp coming up the street. "If she sees us, she'll give us more homework." They got away just in time. Maybe something terrible happened to Miss Nelson. Maybe she was gobbled up by a shark, and one of the kids, but that didn't seem very likely. "Maybe Miss Nelson went to Mars," said another kid. But that didn't seem likely either. "I know," exclaimed one know-it-all. "Maybe Miss Nelson's car was carried off by a swarm of angry butterflies." But that was the least likely of all. The kids in room 207 became very discouraged. It seemed Miss Nelson was never coming back, and they would be stuck with Miss Viola Swamp forever. They heard footsteps in the hall. "Here comes the witch," they whispered. "Hello, children," said someone in a sweet voice. I wonder who it is. It was Miss Nelson! "Did you miss me?" she asked. "We certainly did," cried the kids. "Where were you?" "That's my little secret," said Miss Nelson. "How about a story hour?" "Oh, yes," cried the kids. Miss Nelson noticed that during story hour, no one was rude or silly. "What brought about this lovely change?" she asked. "That's our little secret," said the kids. Back home, Miss Nelson took off her coat and hung it in the closet, right next to an ugly black dress. When it was time for bed, she sang a little song. "I'll never tell," she said to herself with a smile. P.S. Detective McSwog Smog is still working on a new case. He's now looking for Miss Viola Swamp. Okay, kids, that was Miss Nelson is Missing. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had fun reading to you today, and I hope everyone's doing well out there and missing school. Have a great day, everybody.